welcome to the Agri-Learn podcast. I'm your host, Renan Nelau, an emerging full-time commercial farmer, as well as the brand ambassador of the Women and Youth Loan Scheme at the Agricultural Bank of Namibia. Now, today's episode is titled Agribank CSR Program. And with us here in studio is Mr. Philemon Nangonya, who is the public relations practitioner at the Agricultural Bank of Namibia. Mr. Nangonya, it's always a pleasure to have you on the Agri-Learn podcast.
Thank you very much, Reina Nelau. It's also a pleasure for me to be back again here.
All right. Now, today's episode, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about Agribank CSR Program. Could you kindly just tell us about the CSR program at the Agricultural Bank of Namibia?
Well, thank you very much. The CSR, that's now the Corporate Social Responsibility program of the bank, is mainly a program that was created by the bank some times back, really with a view of plowing back to the community, for the bank to appreciate the community within which it operates. It is not sort of a business program of the bank where we do transactions or where we expect beneficiaries to repay the support that we are providing to them, but it is really the goodwill of the institution, whereby it is providing some sort of assistance to various beneficiaries, really with the view, as I said earlier on, for the bank to appreciate and plow back into the community within the bank operates.
All right, wonderful. Now, who or what type of projects does the program support?
Well, we as an institution, we have sort of a scale, in terms of the percentages, to say out of 100%, what kind of projects then are we providing support to?
Okay.
So we have, for instance, 40% is earmarked for projects like your agricultural shows and industrial shows that are related to agriculture.
Okay.
Be it like your Windhoek livestock show or Kakarara show that is now in the area of agriculture.
Okay.
We also have another 40%, which is mainly for our industry partners. Whenever they are having events that are related to some sort of networking or consortium or farmers union and things like that. So we have sort of a 40% to say 40% of your budget, let it also cater for such kind of events. So that is now how we are guided by the corporate social responsibility policy that gives us the mandate to execute this. And then we have the 20, which is now divided between, we have 10% for ad hoc requests, but still ad hoc requests that are in the interest or that are in the mandate of the institution. Remember, the mandate of Agribank is that of promoting the agricultural industry through the provision of affordable financing solutions, and hence we look at those kind of projects that are within that mandate, of course related to agriculture. So we have that 10%, and then there's another 10% which then goes to community initiatives. By community initiatives, I'm talking to things like community gardens, things that are community led, but really for the purpose of either contributing to food security or just to ensuring that the vulnerable members of the community are also taken care of, jointly by that particular group that is managing the community garden.
All right. So if, let's say, 10 individuals in, let's say, Havana decide to come together and start up a community garden, so they can approach the bank for support through the CSR program.
That's correct.
Okay.
They may put in their request, and then based on some of the assessments that then the bank will have to employ,
100%.
they will make their own judgment to say yes, it's a worthy cause that we can support, and then that is now based on some of the other elements that the corporate social responsibility committee will look at.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not always an automatic qualification that you will be supported, but there are some other elements that the committee considers. And one of them, as I said earlier on, it should be something that is providing assistance to the broader community members. It should not just be now the 10 and their families, but then we expect that it should be then benefiting many other people. And how is it also then also contributing towards the sustainability of lives, and also just to make sure that at least going forward, this community is not going to be, this community garden is not going to be dependent on Agribank then to continue or to continuously provide support to them. So those are some of the elements that are considered, of course, before any judgment or decision is made.
Okay, wonderfully said. Thank you for that. Now, why do you believe that it's important for these initiatives to be supported by the program?
Well, as I said earlier on, one, it's to make sure that at least the community is lifted out of poverty, is lifted out of various hardships that we may be experiencing in as far as food production is concerned, or any agriculture related activities. The other thing also, why we intervene, or why we venture into various agricultural shows and information days and what have you, is for the bank to ensure that we develop the industry by making sure that at least these participants within the industry, be it your farmers, be it the farmers union, be it the market, there is that collaboration. People are working together. If it's in our farmers, you cannot do farming alone. You need to be engaging with others. How do you address ABCD? You need to also then be scouting out for the market. Then your fellow farmers, through these events that the bank is sponsoring. For instance, if it's an information day that is sponsored by Agribank, it's for the bank to bring together these players together, so that they together come up with some of the solutions or share some of the information. You may find that there is a certain farmer who has got better knowledge in terms of the technologies that are probably coming up, market access, all those kind of medicines and things that are needed in farming. Hence, it is quite important that you, as now in terms of Agribank, as an agricultural lender, we need to take care of that market, because at the end of the day, these are our clients, and we need to make sure that they are well taken care of at that level. Of course, it's not always that we provide larger amounts. It could just be as little as 10,000 to sponsor an information day. But then the impact that is coming from there, people have networked, people have now learned various information that they may have not known before. So hence we see it important that we venture into some of these activities.
Wonderful. And 10,000 is not little in this economy.
Well,
it's quite a lot of money.
It's relative. It's relative.
Right. So I believe you've under the CSR program, you've supported quite a number of initiatives. If you could mention maybe one or two for us, would highly appreciate that.
Yeah, we sponsor quite a lot.
Yeah.
On average, I would say maybe 3 per month.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 per month. We have sponsored both in rural areas and also in urban areas. We have, for instance, the main one here in Windhoek, the Windhoek Agricultural and Livestock Show. We sponsor that agricultural and livestock aspect, no, not the industrial aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we have sponsored the first ever agri-market day that took place in Omaruru.
Yes.
Somewhere at the beginning of mid of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
We have sponsored the Kama Beef Day or Beef Information Day.
Wow.
The Okakarara Farmers Evening, you know, during the Okakarara Trade Fair.
Yeah.
We have sponsored also the, in terms of community now, we sponsored the Ochimbingwe Community Garden.
Wow.
You know, and as I said, there are plenty.
Yeah.
On average, we sponsor like 3 a month.
Wow.
And you were saying 10,000 is too much, but yes, we try to make sure that at least we allocate the small that we have, you know, with whoever that then is qualifying or meeting the criteria.
Okay, no, that's impressive, I must say. Now, what kind of impact do these initiatives have within their communities?
Well, I think in a way I touched on that earlier on, saying that one, the impact is quite huge and it's visible for those that within the industry to see. It may not be so direct to those that are not playing within this industry, the agriculture sector, for instance, but to the farmers, especially the beneficiaries. When we sponsor some of these, say, the agricultural exhibition events, you know, the purpose is for us to ensure that at least there is that market created, you know. During these livestock shows, you know, farmers are able to sell their livestock, farmers are able to sell various produce that they produce. If you are with tomatoes, you bring your tomatoes. And the organizers of these events, sometimes they have good ideas, but then it's the resources to put together that particular event. Hence, we now come in to provide such kind of assistance or resources to make sure that at least some of these events are taking place. And you know, in terms of the impact thereof, you know, it's quite evident, or it's quite visible for anyone to realize. Talking about community gardens, as I said earlier on, we look at gardens that are feeding the majority of community members. You know, we want to ensure that at least there is sufficient, you know, produce from that particular garden, depending on its production capacity, of course, to make sure that at least there is that sustainability also. We don't want to encourage dependency on just this kind of support.
I recall the you know, seeing the footage and everything else of the first ever farmers market day, and I must say it was quite impressive, the number of farmers that came out within that specific district. I believe it was in Omaruru.
Yes, it was in Omaruru.
Yes, it was quite impressive.
Indeed.
And one wouldn't even think that there would be such a large number of farmers coming from that area. I personally didn't didn't think so, but you know, the turn up was quite impressive. And kudos to you guys being part of such great initiatives. Now let's talk about food security. How does the program contribute towards food security in Namibia?
Well, you see, primarily, if you look at it, agriculture would play quite a crucial role when it comes to food security in the country. And by virtue of providing support through this corporate social responsibility program to agriculture-related activities, you know, we are then also contributing to that broader goal of food security. I gave you an example of a community garden earlier on, and the main you know, reason of creating, of establishing that community garden is to, you know, supplement household food supply.
100%.
And you'll find that on its own is to ensure that at least we ensure that this particular community garden is sustained. We don't want to sponsor something that is only it's only managed to say it's only once off or so. It should be something that is continuous.
Yes,
and hence, you know, we are very much confident that our CSR program is indeed making an impact in as far as food security is concerned. Because through our interventions, we have seen that, for instance, the Ochimbingwe community garden that I gave you as an example, we have seen that after we sponsored some irrigation equipment, you know, we have noticed that they now have started, you know, having that continuous production. You know, previously they were more dependent on some sort of maybe just seasonal and you know, things like that. But now they are able to have various type of crops, so that when they are done harvesting, then they can continue. It's not just rain-fed production.
That's amazing. That was a huge difference that you guys made right there.
Indeed.
Impressive. For any listener or viewer right now that really has a great idea, agricultural related, and is thinking to themselves, look, I am probably just in need of, let's say, $10,000 to really make this initiative a reality. How do I get in touch with the CSR program at the bank?
Well, the process is very simple.
Okay.
It's not complicated. All you need to do is prepare your request.
Okay.
Once you have your request in paper, send it through to Agribank. Once it's at Agribank, it will definitely find its way to the relevant committee. That's now the Social Corporate Responsibility Committee, and then they deliberate on that particular request, and then we give you the response.
Okay.
So that one is very simple, but it should just be made clear that it is not for projects or for ideas that are to advance the interest of individual commercial activities. If you want to venture into commercial activities, we will advise you to take up that proposal with sales, so that then you are granted a loan and then you operate your business accordingly.
But they should apply for that one.
But that one too, you should apply. You should apply. So we have seen numerous times where we are receiving requests of people, you know, but then they just want us to sponsor their businesses. If you are in business, go to sales, because that's what we do. We are here to provide financial solutions to those that are venturing into, or those that are in agriculture and related business activities.
Okay, so your contact details, your landline, as well as your email address, so that they can send the request, or do they come to the bank themselves and drop off their request? How do they get in touch with the program?
Well, I would advise that those that can drop it off, it's also fine, but nowadays we are now into the fourth industrial revolution era, so I would ask that they can also email to info@agribank.com.na.
Okay.
So let them email to info@agribank.com.na. We will then respond, and then we inform them of whatever decision as has been taken by the committee.
Yeah. Before I let you go, there's one question that probably somebody is out there thinking. Please differentiate between a request as well as a business plan, because somebody might come up and think, okay, now I need to draft up a business plan that I need to submit. Is it required, or can they just send a normal formal request?
A formal request to us in terms of sponsorship is just a letter that you write to us.
All right.
Just a 1-pager or 2-pager.
Okay.
Of course, the business plan is longer than that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to put you through that hardship of preparing for a business plan for you to request for sponsorship.
Okay.
You may just write that 1-pager or 2.
Okay.
If you really want to write a lot.
Right.
But otherwise, 1 will do, for as long as you indicate the purpose of your initiative and how is it benefiting the community where you are living. That's now if it's a community project, you know. But for the industrial or for the agricultural shows and you know, activities of the same nature,
information-based sessions,
is the same. Just write and indicate how that is also benefiting those that will be participating.
100%. Mr. Nangonya, it was such a pleasure having you on this episode. Valuable information you've shared right there, and I'm pretty sure it's going to make such a huge difference to those who are in need of support for their great initiatives. Any final remarks from you?
I think I said my remarks already, so I also just want to thank you then for the opportunity.
All right then.
Thank you.
Until then, it's bye-bye.